Hi, nice to see you again. So, today I was going to talk to you a little bit about when I was younger and how I felt about prosecution um, and how I believe they painted a picture that can only be defined, I think, in one way, and that has to do with uh, a story that I learned a long time ago. And the story was good. Um, had to do with two guys that were in a hospital, and one of them was blind, and the other guy had the view of the window. And each morning, the one gentleman would ask the blind guy, and he didn't know he was blind, so he would ask him. He would say, "What's it look like outside today?" And he'd say, "Oh, it's a beautiful day." He'd say, "The sky's perfectly blue. There's a few clouds out. There's hummingbirds out. There's new roses blooming," and that went on day after day after day. A few more days passed, and the guy would ask him again. He'd say, "What's it look like outside today?" And he'd say, "It looks like it's been raining. The little kids are out playing. You know, the little kids with the big yellow rain jackets, the big black boots. They're playing and splashing in the water, and it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous day." And that went on day after day after day. A few more days passed, and the guy laying next to the window got increasingly worse, but the other guy's life changed. He had been given hope. He wanted to get out of that hospital. He wanted to see those things with his own eyes. And a few more days passed, and the guy laying next to the window had died. So the nurses came in, they brought his body out. And the other guy kind of felt worried about it, but he asked the nurses, "Could you take me over to the window?" And they said, "Sure." So they brought him over to the window, and as he raised himself up out of the bed to look out the window, it was a blank brick wall. Now, as a younger kid growing up, it was my impression that it was the picture that you painted that made you the kind of person that someone wanted to be around, to be with, to be liked. And that story I learned at like 18 years old. And so when I was arrested and I was in county jail, I had wrote a lot of letters to the judge, thinking that it might do some good, trying to express my character. And at that time, character to me was something that you applied yourself to, something that you learned. And as far as that goes, you brand yourself with certain things, like integrity. Integrity to me meant more than just simple honesty. It meant being pure-hearted. When I said I was going to do something, I did it. And if I didn't, I'd let other people know well enough in advance that they wouldn't be in any way harmed by my actions. And you make that statement by the force of your character. So many little things like that. Like any fool can become a father, and most fools do. But it takes a real man to become a daddy. And applause. Applause is a spur to noble minds. And we all have access to enormous power, the ability to spur others on by our praise. And compliments cost nothing, yet there are those around us who would do anything to be praised for something. So while we're at that point, I want to compliment each and every one of you. And I want to thank you for subscribing to my channel. With over 3,000 subscribers, I think we're at. I just want to thank you. And it cost me nothing, and it cost you nothing. I mean, how many times a day do you spend smiling, hoping that smile might change somebody else's life, It's a great thing. And that's what I knew at the time of my arrest. And when I sent all that stuff and all those letters to the judge, they knew, or maybe they learned how to paint a better picture. For whatever reasons that they had a hard on for me, I don't know. Why they didn't They took pictures of the truck, like I said earlier. If anything had happened like they had said, like I pulled somebody into my vehicle, and if any of that would have happened, there would have been fingerprints all over inside of my truck because there was dust everywhere. But that gave them the ability to paint a picture, to make a monster out of somebody that was never a monster. For them not to bring up why this person said that she had been drinking and didn't bring it up during the trial, beyond me. But I want each and every one of you to know that if you got a kid, and if anything happens where, especially a sex charge, I mean, hey, you can commit murder. And I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, there's people out there that are repeat offenders who, and I'm not saying I was an offender. There has been no repeated offense since that day. But I was never an offender to begin with. But no repeated offenses. But yet, you still have to go to the police station once every 3 months and register. It just blows my mind. And every day I wake up. And, you know, I guess you just can't let life kick you and knock you down. I guess you just got to get up and you got to give it your best. Fight. And, you know, I would think maybe somebody would know the governor. I wrote the governor before this governor in California. Tried to get him to review my case. They're so caught up in politics and politicians, they don't care. It's ridiculous. And, you know, I'm trying to fight the good fight, but, you know, living this life it's been tough. I mean, you can't go and just rent an apartment when you're younger. If you've gone through this, you have to apply, and then that application says, have you ever been convicted of a felony? If you have, you can't live there. You know, it's just been hell, and I just wanted to share those things with you today. It's not a lot, but it's something. There's a lot more stuff to share. I don't want to make these videos too long because right now I'm trying to get some retention time and have these videos available for you so you can look at, you can learn from. I'll show you some more papers that I think everybody's entitled to see. If I was guilty, that's you wouldn't see me on here. I don't know. I don't search YouTube to see how many people are trying to clear their name. I'm hoping that maybe some attorney, somebody will, you know, I've talked to attorneys till I'm blue in the face. They say the best thing I could have did was left the country because nothing will ever change. But maybe if I decide, you know, that I want to get a relationship or have a relationship with somebody, maybe this will help. Hey, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you again in a couple days. We're going to do this twice a week, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for subscribing. Please continue to watch the videos, and until that time comes, we'll see you on the next one.